prayer and flag salute. George, you want mine?
Father, we come before you again today, and we have many things on our plate, many issues that we have to deal with. We need your wisdom, your guidance. I just pray that you would grant that to us today and make us elected officials that can provide good service to the people of this district. And we need your help, and we ask for it in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen. Our flag salute.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you all. Welcome. Item 3, any citizen to be heard?
That might be me.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Well, I was wanting to see if I could get Charlie to come out and look at the Midwest between Triplet or Roller Coaster and Seward. There's the fire departments on there. I own about not quite a half a mile of property that on just south of, or about a half mile south of Roller Coaster, that I would be willing to help with the cost of some gravel if the county could split some. But we've already donated a $2,500 pipe when Mike was there. Then when Cody and them got in, they graded all the stuff off the top of it, and it had a hole bigger than that I could stick my foot in. And they did, Zach did come out and patch it, and they put a load of gravel over the top of it. But we need, that road needs attention severely bad, because you know, like I say, it's got a fire department on it, and I've lived there since 1965, and it you know, we're
How do you like it so far?
oh, well, well, as she said,
He's our resident comedian.
as she said, she worked on it, worked with us on our cemetery, which luckily we have nobody in it yet.
Yeah.
But that goes to show you where I'm gonna be.
Right, yeah.
Yeah.
You know?
And I don't want to out anybody's privacy on the camera, but his family also owns that land that butts up against Seward Road, where we're trying to fill that in eventually.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, my nephew has the corner there where, and when that, just for the record, they've, you know, when that road gets straightened out, they got 2 acres on the south side of Seward there that will revert back to them.
Yeah.
And we also own
So
the
your family
industrial
lives
park.
next to Mr. Mr. Wolf, Ray Wolf, to the,
Is that the guy in the corner that has the equipment?
not quite in the corner.
Well, I mean, not in the corner, but I mean, has
Yeah.
the farm equipment up there?
Yeah.
He's a real estate agent or something?
Yes. Yeah, that's right.
I've never met him, but
Yeah.
I've heard it.
Interesting fellow.
Okay.
So I might just tell you, my plan is to reopen that landfill. It was so abused with people dumping the wrong things, trash blowing up on probably your family's property, Mr. Wolf's and everything, so we closed it down. But I'm going to reopen it, and it'll be open on the 4th Saturday each month from say 8:30 to 3 in the afternoon, and we'll have an employee there making sure everything that comes in will be the proper things and not paper products and things like that. And since I don't want to have to pay my employees overtime, I'll probably be the one there overseeing that. So,
Okay.
but I don't know that I can get it done this month, but
Well, I understand, and I've got the sheriff on speed dial, so I can tell them if people are up there trying to dump stuff
Yeah.
improperly.
we're going to have a sign made. We're going to redo it a little bit where you enter, and I'll have a chain up, and I'll also make provision for contractors. Say somebody's tearing a big road up or something and need to dump, and they don't work on weekends. I'll make a provision for them, as long as I'll give them a key to the chain or something to that nature where they can get in. Because not only do we use some of that concrete product for riprap we needed. But in addition to that, it fills that in, moves towards straightening that road up at some point in time.
Yeah,
And so,
sounds good.
Yeah, well, I appreciate your comments. I can't speak for Charlie, but I'm sure Charlie will work with you on.
yeah, here's my card. You really didn't have to come here to,
Well,
I'm glad you did, but-
I actually went by the district yard and they said that you were at the meeting. It's
Yes.
like, well,
I'm glad you came.
I work for myself, so I don't have to answer to anybody. I can do whatever I want.
We'll try to.
We don't have that luxury.
If it works for you, I'll try to go out there a little before noon today with you. If
It'd be great.
If
Yeah.
it meets up with you and let you show me what everything is, so.
Okay, sounds great.
Thank you, sir.
Yep, thank you.
Thank you. Alrighty, moving on. Item 5, consideration of possible action on minutes of June 30th and July 3rd, 2023.
Thank you all.
Have a good day.
Good to see you again.
Yeah, good to see you.
I did.
Okay, I'll second
I got a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
it. Aye.
Aye. All opposed? Motion carries.
Chairman, I'm not seeing our developer with a plat here. I would ask you hold this till the end of the meeting and see if they get here.
After that. Board got a problem with that?
Nope.
Alrighty, item 7, consideration and possible action on 2324 agreement with NICIC, correction communication for inmate communications.
So this is it's the renewal. They are the current provider for the telephone, video, all the inmate communications in the jail. And sheriff has asked for it to be renewed.
So, other than having to have his shoulder perked on because they're riding that bull, if he's not here, should we just table this? I'm kidding.
He may be watching.
I was gonna say, you might be hearing from him here.
You heard of the long arm of the law.
Steve gets called. Arrest that guy.
I'll tell you a pet peeve I had with, and it's not directed to this sheriff or this sheriff's office, it's all of them, is the fees they charge, and I don't know what they are on this one, but it's not the inmate paying, it's their family that has to pay that.
For like, using a phone.
Yeah, if you get locked up tomorrow and you need to call me, they're gonna charge me a bunch of money to take your call.
Crime hurts families, Mark.
It does, it does.
Lots of ways.
Easy solution is don't get locked up.
Yeah, that's how it is.
I'll make a motion we approve.
I'll second.
I got a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, the motion carries. Item 8, consideration and possible action on a resolution establishing a
Stop sign.
sign. I mean, I don't see sign on here, but
Yeah.
Shepherd Ridge and Simmons in District 2.
This is, of course, Simmons is 45-mile-an-hour road, and Shepherd Ridge is a dead-end road, and they've never had a sign there, and it was requested we put a stop sign up there, so that's what this is here for.
I'll move we approve.
Second.
I got a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, the motion carries. Item 9, consideration and possible action to acknowledge receipt of the District 2 turnover audit report.
I emailed that out to each of you, and we just need to acknowledge the receipt.
I will make a motion we acknowledge.
I have it right here.
Yeah, I've seen it.
I have it right here.
No, there you go. I had it on my computer too.
I read it, I was surprised they didn't say anything about any missing fuel, but that had already been resolved in that particular, so.
Well, I had a
Show up on another.
Huh?
This log that it was taken.
So was that the consumables see, I didn't know what consumables were.
Things you use up, your fuel, your bridge boards, things that aren't reusable.
But
They come,
if you was to bring shell or gravel into the yard,
Uh-huh.
it comes.
That's still
it's,
consumable then.
Yeah, because then you gotta log it back out.
Yeah. And so, said there was a lack of internal controls over that, and I don't know.
that's standard language.
And
Okay.
It'll be in every one you ever get.
So I didn't know how to,
And
How
it
to
looks
respond to
like,
that.
Charlie, in all honesty, that if you look, and I don't think they put it in the actual report, but when they sent the initial finding out for review, there was an off on account of like 2 bridge boards, was off. And the crazy one was the concrete barriers that had been donated to the county years ago. The auditor said that we should have more than we do. So I think on the bridge boards, what happens really easily is one of the guys grabs the board, goes off and does the job and forgets to tell the office we took the board. And I think on the concrete barriers, they were just out on location and the count got off.
they're out there barricading that landfill.
You know,
That's
so.
where they are.
Yeah, every article you ever get is gonna have that on there.
Okay.
But overall, I thought it was extremely a good audit. I mean,
Those employees over there, they've been
Yeah.
having, they
Yeah.
know, pretty much.
So Monty made the motion, waiting for a second.
I'll second.
got a motion and a second that we acknowledge receipt. Any further discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, all
Aye.
opposed, the motion carries. Item 10, consideration of possible action on resolution appointing requisitioning officers for various accounts.
So I just have the one for the general government, civil defense, insurance, the ones that filter through this office, which I'll put Sarah back on till we fill the gap. And then, of course, Monty's chairman is one as well.
I'll move that we appoint a requisitioning officers for.
I will second. I got a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, all opposed, the motion carries. Item 11, consideration and possible action on resolution appointing receiving officers for various accounts.
I have one for the health department.
Need a motion on that?
I do.
I move. We accept that receiving officer.
Second.
I got a motion and a second. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, all opposed, the motion carries. Item 12 will be discussion and possible action on consent agenda items.
Payroll claims.
Jim, you didn't try to kill me.
Mark, I actually like going.
You kind of get addicted to that
Yep.
stuff. It becomes part of who you are. It's like, I'm missing something.
I have been going real regularly since about the middle of December, and I had almost gotten back up to the same. What do we got here? Working the same weights as I had been before I got sick with the gallbladder. And, I'm there now.
Now you're gonna sign so much, didn't you?
Well, I kind of watched you guys up here. I just didn't know I was going to get cramps. Oh. Okay, who did this thing?
That'd be me on accident.
Oh, okay.
I only did the M though.
Trying to write out Meadows.
I started signing in the wrong spot.
Been there, done that.
When she gave it to me to approve.
Sorry,
That's right.
That's the way I feel whenever I get a stack of receivers.
Officer report.
Now, these aren't assigned seats. Anytime you want to take that chairman's seat, it's available, I'm sure.
Not for the kind of chairman we have now. I have no interest in grabbing that.
He does a
such
good job, doesn't he?
Yeah. And one of the two of you got to be permanent.
I don't know about that deal.
I just said one of the two of you.
He does a good job.
Sure does.
I don't know about that deal.
He came a long way from not having anything to say to me.
He hasn't approved the payroll yet, so hold on your statements.
Right. Yeah. Well, I'm buttering him up.
What are you wanting to raise, Mike? Why they pay you $10,000 a year more to be the chairman?
Yeah.
Well, I'd keep it then.
Okay. Oh, here's the numbers. Keep putting them in different places on there.
Yeah. You do a good job, man.
Well, I appreciate that. Thank you.
Yep.
It's easy when you got good people deciding behind you.
You're talking about Troy now. She does do a lot of work for
I
this.
think everybody does a good job.
Above and beyond what you're required to do, you do a good job.
Thank you. That's it for consent.
I'll move we approve the consent agenda.
And I'll second that.
Got a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed, the motion carries. 13 will be discussion and possible action on claims for payment for July 2023. Good joy.
Hey, we've seen bigger stack. Waving at somebody on the camera now. Doing that Carol Burnett thing.
Trying to get rid of those cramps. you're either left-handed or wrong-handed. Where'd you hide it this time? Oh. I think it wasn't a snake.
You can't just initial these.
Okay.
Now, that previous commissioner that was left-handed sitting next to me all the time, and he put the agenda over here out of his way to the right. I'd reach over and mark the next one, and then he would read the wrong one. We're not on that one yet. Oh, I marked it over there. Well, it was me that marked it. You're keeping your papers on your left side, so. Probably don't know the answer, but why would we have to spend not a lot of money, 110 for federal election laws? Why didn't the state spend that money and hand it down too?
Why doesn't the state provide us with statutes anymore or any of the other things that have changed over the years?
The statutes, because they say they're online, but
Well, I don't know why we have to spend $199.60 on behalf of the sheriff to U.S. Fleet Tracking. My old buddy Jerry Hunter owns that business.
yeah. So he knows where his fleet is.
Yeah, well, there you go. And I remember them pretty well.
Are you against them now?
No, the guy that owns U.S. Fleet Tracking's friend. I don't know, friend, acquaintance.
Right. You know him.
Yeah. He owns Sundance Airport, that's his hobby.
I'll move that we approve claims for the payment.
I'll second that.
Got a motion and a second. Any discussion on them? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, the motion carries. Item 14, discussion and possible action on approving the purchase card payments for 2023. It will be in.
When do I get mine?
You just gotta
My
go over and pay
purchase
your
card.
fee and get it.
Oh, is that it?
You haven't got it yet?
No, I haven't. What is the fee, $100,000?
I want to know who paid you to bring that subject up.
I'm trying to make these meetings so boring, no one will watch.
I'm gonna turn the camera off now.
We'll be right back.
Yeah, we'll be right back.
This depends on who you are, how you go about and get the card. Some people get lucky enough that they'll just ride down to the city with them and use the card.
Bonnie?
Other of us, you know, we just had it suffer.
Yeah.
I'll make a
Well,
motion
you know,
to approve
this-
the P card payment.
This county took a long time to actually get one.
Is that right?
We were kind of against them,
Yeah.
and then we have that.
There's only 3 people have them, aren't there?
Yes.
Troy.
Troy has the one for the county.
The purchasing office, they don't leave except by special authority.
Yeah.
And, we
They
keep
do.
a we keep a pretty tight rein on them.
That's good.
Now-
That's a good thing.
Aside from that, the sheriff's office has, by law, a credit card as well.
Okay.
And that's because when they're out delivering people, they need fuel and stuff.
Sure.
I did make a motion, I just waiting on a
I'll
second.
say, whoever come up with that law was smart enough not to give commissioners. first.
Got a motion and a second, any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, the motion carries. Item 15 will be comments, announcements, questions by the Board of County Commissioners or other county officers and department heads. Stephen, you got anything?
I just got one thing. I did.
Give you approach, please.
Yes. I'll approach the bench. I printed off some stuff and gave it to Troy. I got an email the other day from the state on the hazard mitigation. So you guys, well, some of you did approve the hazard mitigation plan. That's good for 5 years for natural disasters, remnants, and stuff like that. Anyway, they opened up their notice of intents to apply for grants for hazard mitigation stuff. One of the things that is eligible is generators for the courthouse and my building across the street from the sheriff's office. So it's a 75-25 grant. So just because we said doesn't mean we'll get it, but there'll be some papers to sign probably next meeting on that to get turned in.
So, does the sheriff have a generator in the jail?
Yes.
And so this would be generated for the courthouse and
The building.
Your
And we would
office.
also do the election board too.
Yeah.
Do that whole building.
Yeah.
So, yes.
What, I understand you got a donation for?
Yeah, yesterday, the Invergy, the windmill farm up north, they came to town yesterday, held a little PR deal, made a $10,000 donation to emergency management. They have not physically delivered the check. It'll probably be here next week, they said. So
Good deal, that's
Yes.
great, appreciate it.
that'll be some nice, buy some equipment to use to help out some of the firefighters, sheriff's office, police departments. So,
Good deal.
yep,
Great
that's all I
work.
got.
Thank you, Steve.
Yep.
So, my turn as you're working away. So,
Oh. Sorry.
two things. So the generators was something we had started working on about 1.5 years ago, Charlie, just to bring you up to speed. When before we knew we had a different plan, but ARPA was where we were kind of looking. We have approximate quotes. Stephen worked at getting their state contract items, but the two combined would be a little over $200,000 to do the two buildings. So now this grant comes up that'll cover 75% if we can get that done. So that would be huge to get those two
So
items.
that's 50 now.
If we can do it that way. Number two is,
Let me ask one question. Surely it's a larger generator required for the courthouse than
yes,
the
Yeah.
yes,
other one, okay?
yes.
Yeah, the courthouse, we did 2 different quotes, but the more reasonable one was looking at doing diesel.
Yeah, we originally looked at using natural gas, but the cost of that for the size we need for the courthouse brought it to like 70,000 more than going with diesel. So went back to going with a diesel product. The one that's looked at for the building Stevens in would be natural gas.
And you could always have a interruption in the gas too. That would not be a good deal, whereas as long as you keep the diesel, keep the stuff in there.
Yeah, the one on the jail is diesel.
Yeah.
So. And then number two is just to let you all know that Integrated completed the mini split installation in the treasurer and my office. We are being cooled efficiently and properly, and none of us realized how loud when you get used to listening to all those window units go until they're not on, and then you look around, it's just almost eerie quiet. We just look at one another. So we are very appreciative to that improvement in our offices.
All right, that it? Thanks, Mark, you got anything?
Well, as you already had expressed, I met with Oklahoma County. They're interested in doing 4 miles on Waterloo. They would like Logan County to pay as much as it possibly can. They think they're going to do 1 this year, 1 next year. These county projects, depending on what happens, can move around, up, down, back. But I do think that they were very, very generous with us. And I think that administration in Logan County is going to be able to work well together. They had that grade oil that they're gonna put out the bid and get a minimum of 20,000, and they said, if you want it, you can have it for 15, we want to go out to bid on it. And so that's something we need to think about pretty hard, pretty fast, because he does want to go out Monday with it. They also, in their yard, they had a container, and I took a picture of the name of the company that they put their metal in. Of course, they're much more organized. They don't have car bodies or 10 years worth of metal stacked up. And they said anytime they call them, they come and they pull that thing, and you'll get a check. And the check will come for whatever that metal's worth. I said, yeah, you probably had to do phone quotes. And they said they didn't think they did any phone quotes on it. I think you have to at least do phone quotes on it, the way I read it. I don't want to get them in trouble, but if they haven't ever gotten written up for it either, then maybe I'm missing something. But I did have that company, and they said they would seem to be the best one that they had found to put a dumpster out there. If a District 1 had one, they'd be pulling that thing every 2 days for a long time. And they mainly have old crushed up tin horns that they're taking out. I didn't see a lot of miscellaneous junk in there. Which is a thought for all three of us, if we can get a company to bring out something and start getting rid of that.
We get bouquets of charcoal drills, Berkshires, and dryers. Hundreds of them.
So, would you suggest, Mark, if we split the cost on that one would be at District 1 for a while, one at District 2 for a while, one at District 3?
But they
rather than do 3 of them?
Don't hold me to this, but one of the companies down there, not the one that has it, was $100 a month to provide that dumpster. The other one was $100 a pool. Plus they send them a check.
Mark, I'm curious, when you said they really just had their tin horns and not junk, is it because they're not using it for public disposal and it's only for county metal waste that it's being used for?
That might be it. I did not go over and look into it, so we looked at it from afar. Whenever I said, well, you only got culverts, well, there's other stuff that goes in. So,
but it would make a difference how fast it loads up, that kind of thing.
But $100 a pull, when they come pick it up, and then they send you a check for whatever when they took it across the scales.
I'd definitely be interested in that.
Yeah, me too.
If it's legal.
Yeah. Well, I think it's legal even if you have to do phone quotes, because even at phone quotes you can do lowest and or best. So whatever the best is. And I have not reached out to that company, but I'd be more than happy to share their information that I took a picture of.
So, with that thought in mind, I had quite a few homes burned in my district with that Simpson fire. And I've noticed a lot of those, as they've cleaned that up, in some cases they have concrete off on the side, in other cases it's a lot of metal stuff
There's probably a lot of mobile home frames, I'm sure.
Right. And I'm just trying to figure out how I could help those people. If they brought the stuff to our yard, then that would be fine, but that's not easy to bring the stuff to the yard. And so could we set this by someone's house?
That, I think you'd have to get the district attorney.
Opinion on
in the
that.
past,
Yeah.
I've had issues of cleaning up places that had burned, and the previous district attorney says there's no authority in the law for you to do that.
Yeah.
And, okay, might just back off.
Yeah.
Because where does it stop once you start?
Right.
that?
No, I understand.
Enter in private property.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So.
Now, I do know there's a thing for dilapidated buildings, but we haven't used that in years and
Yeah.
years, so.
When that's something cities use a little more than counties do, So, but okay.
Charlie, got anything?
Yeah, I do. I met with Phillips 66 representatives yesterday on this pipeline they're going to replace, and one of the questions brought up was what are our protocols for crossings, road crossings for pipelines, and they're going to relocate it. There's an existing two pipes that exist right now. One is for crude, the other one is for refined product, and they're moving the one, or replacing the one for refined product, and they're actually moving it through a good part of the distance. It eventually will hook up to an existing pipeline. So any of those places, I guess they've got, when they cross roads, they have to have permits. I don't know what our protocols are for that.
So if you go to the county website, on the front page at the upper right side, there's a tab that says road crossing permits.
Okay.
I told them that when I met.
And
Okay.
the permit form is there and all of the information that they'll need.
Yeah. Well, the guy had actually called me before the meeting you had with him yesterday and asked me, and I said, I don't have a clue. I know there are permits required, I just don't know what it
They're all
entails.
on the website, pretty self-explanatory. It is gonna start north of the river, just on the north side of the river.
Yeah.
Blocks
Maybe it's
it.
mainly Charlie's district.
Yeah.
All
most
of
of
it is, yeah, pretty much.
I think there's a little bit in yours.
Yeah, there is.
One of the things I thought was really interesting is I actually, because I couldn't come to the meeting here, so I went down to Arcadia to meet with them, with the city fathers of Arcadia, and they're going to bore underneath 66, Route 66 there, and I had no idea. They can bore up to 60 feet deep. I don't think they're going that deep, but I was shocked that they could bore that deep. It's amazing. So,
I advocate them to go as deep as they can. You know, that's something we deal with pipeline and phone companies even worse, but there's some give and take. The truth is there's some erosion where
Yeah.
out west we're down to pipeline in places.
Yeah.
And of course they want to always blame it on the county, and there's some erosion issues.
yeah.
But at the same time, you know, how deep were you to begin with? And nobody really knows what was put in 50 years ago.
This pipeline dates back to the 30s, and so you're running either diesel or gasoline, and the pipeline is almost 100 years old, metal pipeline. So there's a reason for replacing it, you know. But a good part of it through my district will be in a different location.
But they are, the way they explained it to me, they call it abandonment, but they're not abandoning their current right of way. They've already fought and bought it, and they're gonna keep it. It's just not gonna be used anymore.
Well, but actually they have two pipes in their current right of way, and one of those will continue to be used. And that's the one that moves crude, either natural gas or oil. And then once it gets through the refinery and they refine it either into diesel or gasoline, then they bring it back to they take it from the refinery up there and take it to their terminal down in Oklahoma City.
It's going from Ponca to the Oklahoma City terminal.
I tried to get them, I tried to ask them, let me show them some place I need trees taken out.
Yeah.
Right away used to put it there. So I don't have the shading going on.
So the only thing I got is a question about ODOT. They have a culvert at Center and State Highway 51 that stopped up, goes under Center. So the constituent up there has been calling, wanting ODOT to clean it out. So ODOT is calling my office saying, hey, that's your culvert. I mean, it's clearly on their right of way. I don't think we have any jurisdiction to be working on ODOT right of way.
It goes under the highway.
Well, it's not under the highway, it's under the approach, Center Road.
You can maintain, and they want you to maintain up to the highway line.
Yeah. So do I have to mow it too? Do I gotta put up all the stop signs?
I agree.
To me, it's ODOT, but another issue I'm having with ODOT up there is they're working on 51 highway, you know, straightening it out. So they're detouring all their traffic around on county roads, and they don't want to do anything to help it. So it's a public road, which it is. But it just kind of aggravates
some signs and only allow local traffic to use that detour. I bet you could get some attention that way.
Who's gonna enforce that sign?
Sheriff.
I think they're pretty busy on their own, so, anyway, but I'm not gonna.
It might be
I'm not gonna work
Lambert's
on ODOT right away, I'm just not gonna do it, I think it's theirs, I'm not gonna put my guys out on the state right away to work, so.
Well, let me ask you a question here. Don't we get grants and things from ODOT?
Through ODOT, not
Through
from.
ODOT?
Yeah, they're-
Do we really want a war with them?
well, it don't matter, cause they're gonna do whatever ODOT wants to do anyway, so. But no, I don't wanna war with nobody.
Yeah.
To answer the question. But there again, I don't think that my crews, I mean, what's next? Am I gonna have to mow that thing too? That people can't see?
That maintained out of this office or the Perry office?
This office. And the water's running across State Highway 51. I mean, you'd think they would be a little more concerned about just going out there and cleaning out in the culvert. Whatever they wanna do, so.
I have two more things. I got a call from a constituent yesterday concerned about a business just north of Waterloo that discharges the fluid. And last winter, ice built up, the car hit it and had a rollover accident. Now this street that the business is on is not one we maintain. It runs down to a ditch in Waterloo. But I went out and looked yesterday, and they were discharging when I was there. And it's some type of a byproduct from the manufacturing process. I don't think it's just clear water. I think it is, it stains the concrete a little bit and things. And so I'm wondering, do I call DEQ to have them check that out? Because what's the difference between that and your national, who is it on a national basis? It's Department of Environmental Quality here in Oklahoma, but EPA, thank you. When that was formed, one of the things that it was tasked to do, and I actually think it's maybe the most valuable thing they do, was to keep big corporations from dumping toxic poisons into rivers, because that was a cheap way to get rid of their toxic poisons. And the problem is it poisoned the rivers. And so I don't see much difference in what's happening here with this, if there is a toxic chemical into that. But who would I call? DEQ?
That's where I would say.
Now, on the water side, you might call, you can call him anyway, John Harrington, and see if he can point you in the right direction on the water. Because it eventually gets down into the, whatever floodplain that is.
Yeah. And who is John Harrington?
He is the Garber Wellington ACOG guy. He's just a resource of knowledge. You met him.
Yeah, I know who he is now. And then I have one last thing. Is there any kind of a bore, an auger or something that's made, kind of like a plumber would go in and dislodge problems in a stopped up pipe? Is there anything made for culverts?
You have one. It's not a bore. They hook it onto the backhoe, and the problem that I saw whenever we used it at District 2 is they're going in wanting too much at a time, because it's a slow process. Now, I went up and watched, Monty had someone come up with a jetter, and they jetted one out, and that works as well. And those guys at District 2 have used a jetter. I've rented it for them.
So,
A good old sewer machine works really good for that.
what does?
Sewer machine, you know, like the cities use to
Okay.
plunge out sewer lines, they work really well for that.
So is that better than a jetter? A jetter, I guess, is using fluid.
It uses water and high pressure, and just drive itself through. And then once you break it through,
Yeah.
here comes the water.
Yeah, right.
The jetter works the best.
Okay. And where do you get the, like from a water truck or something?
Yeah, you have to have a water truck there.
Well, yeah, the one that I have rented in the past, and I can't remember who I rented it from, it has its water. You fill it up and you take it
cost, and you think at the ACO conference we have in July that they'll
Probably not.
have anyone selling those there?
Yeah, probably not. You never know.
Where would you buy one? Granger or?
Well, to buy one, it's gonna be expensive to buy one.
Yeah.
But any one of those you remember who manufactured those things? I don't either.
I'll tell you, if you'd reach out to the city of Guthrie and ask them, about their sewer machine, they'll probably tell you.
Okay.
I'm sure they rent them somewhere.
I rented them. The one on the truck, not the trailer, because I wanted it to be self-sustainable. And I did it for Prairie Grove over here. There's a WPA that stopped up, and we couldn't reach it. And I knew it was about to breach the road. It was
When you say
filled up.
WPA?
An old box.
Oh, okay.
Culvert that WPA.
Okay, I got you now, yeah.
And by the time they got over there, because that was a 2 or 3 day deal to get the jetter.
Yeah.
When they got over there, it had unplugged itself over the night, so the pond was gone.
Yeah, yeah.
So we didn't actually use it that
Yeah.
time. What I was trying to do, and I did it in District 1, and Scott he ought to remember, is I tried to get several culverts that were stopped up on the list and rented a truck. Let's go do these.
That's what I'd like to do, and part of what I'm thinking here on this is, people want their roads fixed, and really to fix them, you gotta have new tin horns, or you have to have tin horns in the ditch that actually work.
Mm-hmm.
And some people don't want to or can't afford a tin horn. I'm just thinking, what if a lot of times they've got a tin horn there, it's stopped up. But what if we could clean that out and reuse that, get that ditch fixed, and then actually put a road in that would.
More often than not, when you dig one of those out to try to turn it up to clean it out,
Yeah.
it's half rusted
Rotted,
through.
yeah, yeah.
Fails anyway.
Well, I had one old man tell me, he said, well, I just hook a chain around it and put it behind my tractor and run up the road with it, and it bounces and it cleans out, And,
In the old days, the culvert pipes were a lot better than they are today. You could do that, but the ones they sell today don't last no time. You've got to throw a pocket knife through them. They're so thin.
You know the state highways do not have metal underneath them. They use the concrete.
concrete.
Because they got a lot of our tax dollars to spend.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Yeah.
they're expensive.
yeah.
Now, my guys, they're wanting to, they've seen it on YouTube where someone's taken a tractor and hooked a tire to it, and they're wanting to try that. I wouldn't use a chain, maybe a cable would kind of scare me to actually try it. Have you done that?
Well, the problem is getting the chain through there.
Yeah, you have to have a rod to get it through.
If it's stopped up, how do you get the chain through there? Or the cable or whatever.
Yeah.
It's a tough deal. Yeah, I've seen videos, people doing that.
So, one last question here. You've got, there are some culverts that are made out of a plastic material. Are they better or worse, last longer, or?
I like the plastic better.
See, I don't. I like the metal better.
Okay.
The reason I like the plastic.
So I got an ear for each of you.
I can tell you the reason I like the plastic better is you can put in say you had a 24-inch pipe in there. I think you can go down to an 18 because it's a smooth bore. They carry more water faster, and they don't seem to collect the dirt.
Okay, I'm talking about a plastic that's actually, it's not a smooth plastic pipe.
Right. Well, the outside's not smooth, but the inside is.
Oh,
smooth.
okay.
The inside's smooth. So anytime you have an engineer figure the hydraulics on a deal,
Yeah.
they'll tell you if you go with a 10-foot tin horn,
Yeah.
which would be rippled, or a 10-foot tank car. The tank car will carry more water because it's smooth.
Okay.
A lot more expensive tank car.
It is.
So, now that's a nice name, but when I think of a tank car, I think of something that's either on the back of a semi-truck or
That's it. Or a train.
a train or something like that.
It's a
So,
train car with the ends cut out.
You can get them still railroad yard outside.
Okay, so you're talking about for something really big.
Right, yeah, but
Yeah.
I'm just trying to tell you the difference between
Yeah.
a ripple pipe and a
Yeah.
smooth pipe.
Right.
A smooth pipe, they say, that don't make sense to me, will
Yeah.
carry more water than a ripple pipe.
Well, I think maybe because the ripples, maybe it starts
I don't know.
filling in or
I
something.
don't know their theory. on
Yeah, I don't know either. That makes sense, maybe.
They've made a lot of improvements. In the beginning, those plastic pipes, they were not UV, so if you had one exposed at all, it would rot out. They would catch on fire if fire came through.
Yeah.
They've improved that. They still haven't, in my opinion, improved the connection. Now, some of them connect pipe to pipe, and others have a band. The bigger ones have a little plastic band.
Yeah.
Well,
Metal-
Does Doug Ross sell those also?
I bet he does, yeah.
From 24-inch down, the plastic pipes got is cheap, but 24 up, it's a lot higher.
Okay, okay.
And they're real
But
boggy,
I
they
ain't
usually
never
float
figured